right, welcome to the Patriot Hour for Sunday, September 22nd, 2019. I am Michael, your host. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for giving us some time, folks. We know your time is valuable. It's very important to you. We've been covering, real quick, if you're new, subscribe, ring the bell. If you're a returning Patriot, welcome back. Thanks for joining in on this Sunday evening. I wanted to get out a few key things here we've been hitting on, folks. Biden, the Trump, the whistleblower. It is now coming out. Unbelievable. This is a lot like the Russia Hoax 2.0. It's the same people. It's the same kind of scenario. This whistleblower didn't even hear the phone call himself. This is like second hand. Somebody was talking about it. He took it to be what it was. And that's why. And then all these leftists, the socialist AOC, this is what socialists do. They're a one party system. They don't want any other party to exist. So at all costs, they're going to try to get rid of the other party. That's why impeachment is always on the table. She just tweeted today that bigger than Trump and his failures and his crimes is the Democrats' failure to hold them accountable and impeach them when they can't even name off a true crime. High crimes and misdemeanors, or they're folks. It's all smoke and mirrors. All right, we got some interesting little video I want to show here. We got a little article I want to read about it. We've been talking about it right when it came out, that it was all an optic. It was another. I mean, the bigger story here is, where did all this come from? What's it all about? Well, it's to do with Biden. And nobody cared when Biden was vice president. It was all caught on hot mic, that, he was holding $1 billion of taxpayers' money back. He was going to hold $1 billion. And they said, you can't do that. You're not president. He's like, oh, call over there. He'll tell you the same thing. And you better get rid of this prosecutor that's looking into this natural gas company. Comes out, well, your son worked there. Well, I didn't know that. This is bull crap. It's unbelievable. So, yep, it looks like that big anti-Trump whistleblower story was all smoke and mirrors. The media has spent the past few days speculating all the ways in which the Trump administration, turn that down just a hair for you, that the Trump presidency could end after a whistleblower lodged a complaint regarding President Donald Trump's communications with an unknown foreign leader. It all turns out that the complaint is nothing more than a rumor reported by someone in the intelligence community. Buried in a lengthy CNN article about the complaint is the following paragraph. The whistleblower didn't have direct knowledge of the communications. An official briefed on the matter told CNN. Instead, the whistleblower's concerns came in part from learning the information that was not obtained during the course of their work. And those details have played a role in the administration's determination that the complaint didn't fit the reporting requirements under the Intelligence Whistleblowers Law, the official said. Granted, this is yet another anonymous source giving more context on what another anonymous source told a different outlet. But it still calls the entire story into question. The Washington Post first reported the complaint on Wednesday using anonymous sources and vague descriptions. The outlet placed a story on its front page with the headline, Trump's communications with foreign leaders are part of the whistleblower complaint that spurred standoff between spy chief and Congress, former officials say. So again, this guy didn't even hear it firsthand. This is the old, I heard it from somebody else, or folks, when are we going to learn? When are they going to learn? And now the bigger story is out again. Biden, his son, Biden was vice president. Biden levied $1 billion of taxpayers' money. For what? To get his son off of something, to get the investigation to stop. There's all the reasons in the world. We had Obama on a hot mic, leaning in, telling, tell Putin that once I win, we'll have more flexibility in that next 4 years. No media didn't care. I remember like Fox News playing that little hot mic. Nobody cares about these. What are they doing? Let's look into it. No. And then here you got this story. Nobody knows the facts yet. And they're already rushing to conclusion. Rushing to conclusion. Russian. Folks, it's the same thing. They're acting like Trump don't have the right as a president to talk to other leaders. And you have all the right in the world. There's actually a foreign leader, president to president of another country, a foreign leader. That's executive privilege conversation. So for all this to kind of leak down to some guy, the actual whistleblower that actually filed the charges, never heard it. He just heard it through the hearsay. Ooh, that's kind of a little smoke and mirror itself. It's not typical. Normally a whistleblower is somebody within direct knowledge of the whatever's going on. The media has spent the past few days speculating. We've read some of that. I don't know if there's a little bit more in here. So the story was as vague as the headline, with two former U.S. officials familiar with the matter who are speaking on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the matter publicly, claiming Trump made a promise to a world leader, which is apparently wrong. The Post filled out its story with information, so after this whole story comes out, or it's out now, and this is their plan, but it backfired. Now that it's out and then it proves Trump didn't do any of this, does it get washed away again, or do we land on what the whole conversation that Trump was having was really about, which was Biden and his crimes as vice president? Instead of just asking, well, let's go, all this stuff sounds really sketchy. Let's ask Biden. Biden, what do you say? No, that didn't happen that way. That's foolish. I never knew my son worked there. It was a coincidence. There you go. You got it right there. Biden said this. This is how they normally act. Trump's been saying he didn't. Hey, it was nothing. And then they laugh at him. They say, no, that's not correct. So look at the optics of it, folks. Just blatantly right out in front of you there. It's hilarious. It's really hilarious. It really is. So the Post filled out a story with the information about a standoff between the acting director of the National Intelligence, Joseph Maguire, and Congress. The Intelligence Community Inspector General, Michael Atkinson, who was appointed by Trump, determined the whistleblower complaint to be of urgent concern, according to the Post. But Maguire argued he was not required by law to turn the complaint over to congressional Democrats seeking to impeach Trump. The reason Maguire didn't turn the complaint over is because of what CNN reported, that person who made the complaint had no direct knowledge of what was said, and it was merely reporting on a rumor. Why the Inspector General determined it urgent and credible remains to be seen. Media outlets have continued to speculate about what the terrible thing Trump allegedly promised and to whom. The Post published a timeline of Trump's calls with foreign leaders over the past 4 months, emphasizing his contacts with Russia and North Korea. Further reporting suggests that Trump made some kind of promise with the newly elected leader of the Ukraine, possibly over the country's investigation into the former Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. The elder Biden reportedly bullied Ukraine into firing a prosecutor looking into the company that employed his son. Biden allegedly threatened to withhold U.S. loan guarantees if the prosecutor was not fired. Some in the media suggested Trump withheld $250 in military aid from Ukraine, possibly in relation to whatever promise was made in the telephone call, which again the whistleblower didn't overhear. It's all hearsay. But so there you go. Over the allegedly threatening. Now, if I am not mistaken, all these articles are saying allegedly. Now, we have Biden on film bragging about this. And I guess I need to find it. I know I've already played it on this channel in the past. I've already showed it to you guys. Let me know if I'm wrong here. But there's a video of Biden sitting there, hot mic, hot cameras, thinking that they're not on or something, and him talking about this whole exact story. and I told them you're gonna do this and you better do that or I'll hold it. And you're not the president. Oh yeah, you call there and they'll tell you the same thing. I'm telling you. Darn it, this is Joe. All right, so this morning on Sunday morning's futures on the Fox News, of course, they've been having Nunes on from the intelligence community for the Republican side, following along with the whole thing. This is a good little bit. We'll take a look at it here. It's about 10 minutes, but we'll kind of scan through. There's a few good points he makes. So let's check this out.
Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph Maguire is set to testify before the House Intel Committee next week. On the whistleblower complaint, he is refusing to hand over to lawmakers. It was reportedly sparked by a July phone call between President Trump and the president of Ukraine. Now, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the president repeatedly asked his Ukrainian counterpart, to investigate Joe Biden's son. Joining us right now is Republican Congressman from California, Devin Nunes. He is the ranking member of the House Intel Committee. He also sits on the House Ways and Means Committee. And Congressman, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Great to be here with you.
Thanks so much for joining us. So you're going to be there. Obviously, you're the ranking member of Intel. What are you expecting from Joseph Maguire?
Well, it'll be interesting to see what his thoughts are as to why this information should not be provided to Congress. Most people believe is because it was a privileged conversation that the president had with another foreign leader, which historically we've never received those. Now, I'm all for receiving privileged conversations that our leaders are having with foreign leaders, as long as we're going to get all the conversations that happened between Vice President Biden and the Ukrainians, Barack Obama and Putin, Barack Obama and all the other world leaders. So this really opens Pandora's box. If it's going to be game for the legislative branch of government to get all these.
See, that was key right there, folks. If we can get everyone else that's done this. All right, we're going to open this up. All right, you're going to make a big deal out of it, which it should be.
Privileged conversations that our leaders have. It needs to be more than just President Trump. Vice President Biden and the Ukrainians, Barack Obama and Putin, Barack Obama and all the other world leaders. So this really opens Pandora's box. If it's going to be game for the legislative branch of government to get all these privileged conversations that our leaders have, it needs to be more than just President Trump. We need to get all the conversations that our leaders have with foreign leaders.
I mean, once again, you put on, MSNBC or CNN, and it's all about this. Once again, The media is all over this as if the president did something improper. Did the president do anything improper?
Right. This has all the hallmarks of the Russia hoax, right? It's the same. Let's just go through it. Something leaks out that there's something bad that happened. And then it's the same reporters that report on it. The same exact reporters that reported on the Russia hoax report on it. Then you move forward, and what happens? Then supposedly they come and testify the night before they testify. Then this whistleblower, who supposedly doesn't want anybody to know who this person is or what information they have, well, it's spilled all over the pages of the Washington Post the day before the IC for the ICIG, the Inspector General for the intelligence community, comes in and briefs us.
Yeah.
So it looks, whoever came up with this scheme, because it looks like it was somebody trying to deflect what Biden did back in 2015. Okay, he's definitely got some questions that he needs to answer as to what was he doing talking to the Ukrainian leadership at the time when his son has a contract. We want to get to the bottom of that also. So, but this scheme seems to have backfired on Biden. I mean, Biden's already dropping in the polls, and this probably could be the end.
It probably is a tough subject for Biden to go to.
The end of his campaign as we know it.
Because of these conflicts, we know that his son also took a plane trip on his plane, the vice president.
Air Force Two. The son went on Air Force Two. They went over there to a day later. They got $1.5 billion deal.
President's plane when he went to China, and then he got $1 billion from the Chinese government.
Right. I mean, there's a lot. Like the left knows that Biden's son is a problem for him. This is why when Hillary Clinton was running, these stories first originated back when Hillary Clinton was trying to make sure that Biden didn't get in the race. So now that these have been resurrected, I don't know who came up with the scheme. Maybe there really is. This whistleblower is not a partisan. I mean, we want to hear from that whistleblower, but it sure looks like the scheme has backfired. And this, like I said, I think this is probably the end of Biden's campaign.
End of his campaign.
I really do. I don't think. I mean, not that he's still formidable. He still has a block of support.
Yeah.
But if you look, his lead is basically down to zero. If you look what happened in Iowa now. It looks like Elizabeth Warren is in the lead.
Your colleague on the left, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is tweeting out. She said, at this point, the bigger national scheme.
This one's good here. This is really good. So pay attention to this, and then we'll probably be done with this video.
Is the Democratic Party's refusal to impeach President Trump. It just seems like everything that comes out, they continue to move toward any pursuing of impeachment, and they're not looking at the real wrongdoing, which we've been covering for 2.5 years, what happened at the FISA court. What do you make of AOC's tweet?
Well, remember, she was put up by the socialists, right, to run. When she ran in the primary and beat a sitting Democrat in New York City, she was a socialist. So what do socialists do? They want full control. They want one-party control. So the only way to get one-party control right now is to impeach the president. So that's what they're trying to do. So the more I think that they're out there promoting this kind of craziness and silliness, I think the more the American people are going to be put off. And I think the higher likelihood that President Trump is reelected.
Meanwhile, I mentioned in the last half an hour with Senator Graham that there's this op-ed by Kim Strassel, Horowitz Speaks. You had Michael Horowitz testifying last week, not a word about it. What can you tell us about the FISA abuse and when we will see this Michael Horowitz report on FISA?
Well, this is going to be more evidence that's coming forward. So you had the Comey report. Now you have this report that Horowitz is coming up with. I hear that that is very lengthy. Everybody forgets this is, we were the ones who first, the House Intelligence Committee Republicans are the ones that brought this to everyone's attention.
Yes.
And then this is what got Horowitz investigating the FISA abuse. So we have already determined that there was FISA abuse. The question is does Horowitz come up with new evidence, more evidence that can then be used by the U.S. Attorney in Connecticut, Durham, who's been put in place by Attorney General Barr to come up with answers to questions that Mueller, Mueller never finished his report. There's so many people that we don't know about with Mueller that we need Durham to not only get to the bottom of, tell us exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And then what Horowitz should have evidence that can then be used to build criminal cases against people who lied to the FISA court.
So
that's what we really want to see. The American people aren't going to have trust in these intelligence agencies until someone is put in jail. I just came back. I went and did an event out in Missouri.
Put in jail. That's what we're talking about, folks. No confidence in this system again until people are held accountable and people go to jail and people will go to Gitmo. And people go down and people cease to exist on the face of this earth. They are completely and totally eradicated. Gone. No more. That's what needs to happen. And this is what he goes on to say as he's going around the country.
For Congressman Billy Long. The question that I get as I'm going through airports, the question I get at these events where I'm speaking publicly, everybody wants to know the same thing.
Yeah.
When is somebody going to pay the price for what they did? Are you really going to have a FISA court that operates like this? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And look, the FISA court has a responsibility too. So I hope that it'll take Durham longer to do his investigation. But you know who could really do something right now? The FISA court.
Yeah.
The FISA court, once they get Horowitz's evidence that he's going to provide, the FISA court needs to step in and hold some of these lawyers in contempt, because that will get action quick from people that will start to talk.
Congressman, you a moment ago discussed, we have some breaking news. What was that?
Well, a few weeks ago, General Flynn's lawyer filed in court some very surprising claims, made some surprising claims, some of which we didn't know, some of which we were familiar with. But remember, we've talked about on your show many times about Joseph Mifsud, Okay, Joseph Mifsud is the Maltese professor, Maltese diplomat, who's kind of like this Forrest Gump figure. He just shows up everywhere. So if you remember, he was the one who originally supposedly talked to Papadopoulos.
Yeah, he told Papadopoulos Russia has Hillary Clinton's emails.
So, right, supposedly, right? This is what we've been told. Well, now General Flynn's lawyer filed in court that when General Flynn was at the now infamous RT event where General Flynn went to Russia, even though he had told the U.S. government, hey, I'm going to Russia, I'm going to speak at this event, give a speech, have a dinner, going to be with Putin. Well, guess who was at that dinner according to General Flynn's lawyers? Joseph Mifsud.
So what is he?
So that's why I say, how does this guy show up in late 2015?
It's just a coincidence.
And then just happens to talk to
Nunes,
Papadopoulos.
it's just a coincidence. They'll tell you. Just ask them. Damn liars. It all points back to them, folks. We've known this the whole time. It's been a great 2 years or so covering all this with you, going over it together, understanding it, learning it 100%. They can't pull the wool over our eyes anymore because we finally broke through the bullshit. All right? Dark no more. Dark to light. We are in the light now. You bring a candle into a dark room, you can't really make the room dark anymore unless the candle gets blown out and you make it really dark again. But if you just bring some light into a room, there's no possibility for the dark to exist unless all of the light gets kicked out. But man, we're all still here. We all know there's no getting rid of that. All right, that is the power of everything we've done. That's the real result. You guys are more educated than you ever been, and maybe you feel like, well, why? This isn't too important. This is important stuff. These are the rulers of the world. These are a lot of the evil people, where they dwell, what they do for their kicks, and this is where it matters the most. All right, so lots of rumors, lots of BS. You can see what they're doing here, the spin on it. It didn't work. But the bigger question is Biden done? When does he fold? We've already had a couple of Democrats fall out of the race, Blasio, and guess who's next? We're going to be looking at Booker. Yes, bathroom Booker. Looks like he told his whole campaign people just yesterday that they need to raise about $2 million this month, or he's done. He can't afford to be in every state and have all the little offices and the little people pushing for his campaign in all the different states when it costs money. Can't very well travel around the country to promote your own self without money. So that's what he put forward to his campaign people, and they'll see if they can drive it for him to raise the money. Otherwise, he's out. And we'll be watching them drop one by one as we get closer to the actual election. All right, I'm going to shut this one down. We're a little over the mark, but hey, we're got no limit on this truth stuff. As you can see, I got a shelf behind me here. I just got some of the paintings shoved in there now, but folks, we got 4 to 5 rows. Lots of real estate. Send in some knickknacks, patriotic stuff. Got some sticker space still on the back of the monitor. I'll get rid of that. Surfer, Ron, John. Send your stickers in. Send some stuff for the shelf. We appreciate it. Links are down below. Website, P.O Box, PayPal. About all that's up for right now. Things have been shut down. It's been a great 2 years. We appreciate it. Again, I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. We'll see you here tomorrow morning on the live Monday Truth Talk. As you're driving into work and people are maybe getting off, going in, just waking up, whatever. All right. right, again, I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you back here on the next Patriot Hour update video coming real soon. Have a great evening.